Alright, now we're going to talk about the glottal, which kind of just looks like this little apostrophe. Now, for those of you that might have a dictionary or seen some of the old writing, they have these weird ones that kind of look like a question mark. They don't have the little dot under it though, it's just kind of, it's bigger, but there's really nothing too much to discuss between these two. They both sound like they act the same way a glottal does. So we're just, the way we write it, we just write it like this little small one. But just to make you aware, if you're ever reading some of the documentation, you might see this bigger one, and it's nothing to really stress about. It's just pretty much acts just like this glottal. So the way a glottal works, and it's pretty important, is it's a stop or a pause with some words, and then it's a pop with consonants. So we'll just kind of go through these examples. Here's why it's important. First off, we have words like kala, and that's just like a certain amount. Then we have words like katla. Now that's like saying just. And so you have words like tukuh and tukuh. Then you have words like kus and kuus. Now kus is real important. That is water. Kuus, this is a pretty common, it's just a word that kind of adds a little bit extra meaning. It just kind of means like thus. But you don't want to say inwaluk sa kuus, you know, that doesn't make any sense. You want to say inwaluk sa kus, you know, in kayawtsa inwaluk sa kus, I want water. You say kuus, that's not going to make any sense. So the stress is also in a different spot. This is actually two short U's separated by a glottal. This is one vowel, this is one long vowel. So that's another thing we have to remember about the glottal, is you kind of have to treat it like it's its own letter. For those of you that have a dictionary, the glottal comes after all the other letters. So if there's a word, typically words that start with a vowel, they always really have a glottal in front of them. So that would be way in the back of the dictionary where the glottal words start. After everything else, after the Q's, we don't have a Z or any of that thing, so after the Q's and the X's and the Y's, then you'll have all the words that start with the glottal. So you got to treat that glottal kind of like it's its own letter, its own sound. Well, to reiterate, so we have kala and katla, and then we have tukuh and tukuh. Now see, tukuh and tukuh, the only thing that is separating those is that glottal. If you took that glottal away, it's spelled exactly the same. So this is behind a consonant here, so it has a popping effect. So this one is tukuh. There's my K, just a regular K sound, tukuh. This one has tukuh, so you have to pop that K. So this one would be like to guess correct. Now this one's stiffly, and this one would be like to guess. This also like straight or correct. So this is something that's stiff, and this is something that's being done correctly or straight. It's right. Similar to this word here, it's a ah. So you see, the only difference is that glottal though, and then the difference between kus and kuus. So here it's acting as a pause, kuus. Here it's also acting as more of a pause, katla. Here it's acting as a pop, tukuh. So looking at these other examples, when this glottal comes after a vowel, it's going to act like a pause. So we have yaka. So we're cutting the A off at the end, yaka. Without that glottal, it'd just be sound like yaka. And if you're around an elder speaker, they're probably going to tell you that's not right. You know, it's yaka. And here we have tiskat. That's a skunk. So this would be the black bear, yaka, tiskat, a skunk. This is one we still use a lot today. Humptits, humptits. So after that I, we're pausing, we're going humptit. Then we're adding the C, humptits. And then we have kutnu. That's another one we use a lot. Kutnu, I don't know, I wonder, kutnu. And here's one that really helped me understand how the glottal works. Another important word the Chinook salmon, we have not so. Now for a long time I would say not so, not so. Sounds alright to me. But my elders would say, "What? It's not so." So you have to pause right there. Not so. Not so. So that's how you say these words correctly. You would pause after those vowels. These ones are coming after consonants. They still kind of act like a pause. So you have tim. So we'll pause there after the M. Tim, then inna. Timpina. That's your heart. Timpina. Then you have a fish hook. Now this is important to say this right because you have wawa too. Now that would be a mosquito. And again, that glottal is what tells us that we're talking about a fish hook. So we have wawa, wawa. That's the fish hook. And so if you didn't have that glottal and said wawa, that's a mosquito. So we have tsa'a. That's like right on, good, right, correct. Tsa'a. Now this one has this is a good one because it's popping off the C. Now the C's already has that type of sound, but you sort of got to emphasize a little more. So tsa'a, tsa'a. So we're pausing after that first A. Tsa'a. And there's another one you hear a lot, and this time the glottal's popping off the T. So you got to not just say the T, but it's. Look at me making myself spit everywhere here. Lamutits. Lamutits. Then we have this one, another important one we use a lot. Katsiao-yao. Now, some people just say katsiao-yao, but this is actually the correct way to say it. We say katsiao-yao. Katsiao-yao. And here's the stress to let us know where we put the emphasis on the word. Now here's another one where it acts as a pause. Hechnu. Hechnu. So it might help you remember, see how the W's, some people say W's and Y's are actually vowels. You'll notice after the vowels it's always a pause with the glottal. In front of consonants, it's a pop. So here and here, it's acting as a pop. It's acting as a pop here. The rest of them, it's a pause. So something to keep in mind when you're reading Nez Perce, that's what that means. It's going to act as a pause or a pop. Because I know when you first begin reading Nez Perce language, it seems like there's all these crazy symbols, but really there isn't. There's the little stress mark, which we talked about. There's the glottal. Other than that, you might have the funny L, the aspirated L, and you're going to have the X with a dot under it. But you have to bear in mind that most of the consonants we have, the T, the Q, the K, what's another one, the C, a lot of those have their own words. They start with a glottal after them. And in a dictionary, after all the T words, then you're going to have the T glottal word because those ones all start with that popping sound. So you have to keep that in mind as well if you're using a dictionary or trying to find words, trying to pronounce words, that these are going to sound different if they don't have that glottal there.